Okay, hear me out. You're not that long into your woodworking adventures and you've decided to make some lovely wooden tea light holders for yourself, friends and family. Very nice. The thing is, people like them that much, you're starting to get more and more and more orders for them. Even nicer. Well, if that's the case, stick with me for the next few minutes, because this video is all about the launch of the hand-eye crafted, see what I did there? Tealight jig that gives you simple, accurate and repeat measurements that's guaranteed to save you time. Alright folks, hello again, welcome back to my channel, and after last year's successful launch of the Hand-Eye Craft Food Safe Wood Wax, I am delighted to announce the launch of a brand new product to market, and let me introduce you to the Hand-Eye Crafted Tealight Holder Jig. Now let me just hold it there for a minute and hopefully you'll be able to see it. Now please allow me to give you a little bit of background information as to why I decided to design and make this product. Next month the YouTube channel will have been up and running for 5 years, so that's 5 years worth of content, well over 200 videos, and across all that content I am most frequently asked about 2 topics. Topic number 1 is insulated roof panels, and topic number 2 is wooden tea light holders. I don't know either. Well, I kind of do. It's the first video that I ever put out on YouTube, and next week you will see the reboot of that video where I brought it more up to date with different techniques and additions that I've made to it. But I think it's very much a beginner friendly project. It may be one of the first things you decide to make for yourself or for your friends and your family, and I get asked loads of questions about it, about how big are your spacings, what type of Forstner bit do you use, where do you get those metal cup holders from. Yeah, and I get asked them quite a lot, so there's clearly an interest in making this beginner friendly project. And of course I've made loads of these. All right, so from the very first project to make, and I still make them to this day, and you will see them on sale in the red brick market in my cellar space there. Also in my local butchers I've got them up for sale, and I sold loads of them in the run up to Christmas, and also over the winter months you're still going to be selling them. And I think as the seasons go on, people are still interested in this product. Why? I think, you know, there is a demand for kind of tea lights and candles and that kind of thing now, and also if you make them with kind of reclaimed materials, they're quite cheap to produce and sell. So I think there is where the popularity is. Now I have refined my technique over that period of 5 years to the point now I'm really happy with my designs, and I decided to share that knowledge and information in this simple tea light jig. It gives you accurate repeat measurements, and also what it mainly does is it saves you time. What does it actually do? Well, let's get onto the bench and we'll take a closer look. Okay, so what is this tea light holder jig all about? Well, in essence, it's a measuring device that gives you accurate 65mm spacings between the center of the holes that you are going to drill for your tea light cup holders, and it also gives you a 50mm spacing between the center of the first and the last hole and the edge of the piece of wood that you're going to work on. The circles that you can see etched here represent the 42mm Forstner bit that you're going to use, and I'll explain why 42mm a bit later. And these etched circles come in really handy, because if you place the jig on top of a piece of wood and you're not sure whether it's wide enough to use for a candle holder or not, then these circles represent how big the holes are that you need to drill. The jig also has a center line, which you can see here. So all you need to do is mark the center line on your piece of wood and then align the center line on the jig, and then you know that the holes that you are going to mark are going to be perfectly in the center of the piece of wood that you're using. This jig represents the most popular size of candle holder I make, which is 5 holes, but you can use it for less or more holes, which I'll demonstrate a little bit later. Right, let's change the camera angle and I'll show you the rest of it. Once you've got your center line lined up to your pencil marks, you would simply hold it in place. But as you can see, I have to clamp things down, and then you could take something like a brad awl or even a pencil and mark the center point for where you're going to drill the holes for your Tealight holders. And once you've done that, put a pencil mark at the end of the jig so you can saw off this piece of waste, which will give you an equal spacing between this end and that end. Now, I did say earlier you can easily use this jig for fewer than 3 Tealights or more if you wanted to. Say for example you wanted to make a holder that had 3 Tealights. All you would do was mark your first 3 holes and then take the jig away, flip it around, and then align the holes up and the center line, and then all you would need to do then is make a little pencil mark here, and then you can cut at the mitre saw there and you've got a 3 Tealight holder. Let's get over to the mitre saw for my 5-hole one and then we can drill some holes. So I take my pencil mark that I made at the end of the jig and either using a mitre saw or a handsaw, cut it to size. And both ends are now symmetrical. Right, let's get over to the pillar drill. One thing I do like to do before I drill the holes is put a little bit of marker pen on top of them so it's easier to make them out when you're lining them up with the tip of the Forstner bit. And there we have it, folks, the hand-eye crafted Tealight holder jig. To paraphrase the old adage, the best solutions are often the simplest, and this is simplicity at its finest. It gives you consistent and accurate center point markings for you to drill the holes for your Tealight cup holders, and it saves you loads of time as well, so you're not having to mark and measure every time you make one. And after several years of experimenting with different sizes, I think I've got the aesthetics good between the actual Tealights themselves and between the edge Tealight and the end of the piece of wood. What else? Oh yes, the 42mm Forstner bit. Now let me come back to this because it's really important. If you are making Tealight holders for yourself, friends, family, or to sell, in my humble opinion, you must use these metal inserts. I get these off Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to, because if you are using just a standard Tealight like this, believe it or not, yes, it can scorch the wood, it can cause smoking, it could potentially lead to a fire. And if you are a small independent business selling these things and next thing you've got someone putting a lawsuit on you because you burnt the house down, wouldn't be great, would it? Now, these use a 42mm Forstner bit with these gives you a perfect friction fit. Now, I use a little bit of CA glue from 038. This stuff over here, again, I've got an affiliated link in the description to that stuff, just to seal them in place. But again, I'll go through more detail in next week's video when I talk you through how I actually make one of these in the rebooted version of my original video. The jig is now available on my website for sale, and also during the month of February as a launch. So for the first month, I've got 10% off. So the price is including postage and packaging, 10% off in February 2024 if you're going to buy yourself one of these. And you know, also it's a great way to support a small independent business as I'm trying to grow the business through creating some of my own products. Can you make one of these? Of course you can. I've made loads of these in different shapes and sizes over the year through scraps of MDF or bits of hardboard. The downside to them is after not very long, the hole that you've drilled itself, be it a 3mm hole or whatever, it starts to work quite easily, and your markings can start to deviate off a little bit, which creates inconsistencies when you're lining up the actual holes themselves. What I would recommend with the jig, if you're going to use a brad awl, mine has got a 3mm shaft on it, is just let it settle actually into the hole before you press it down, because obviously there's a tiny little bit of wiggle room. But also, if you want to use a pencil mark on it, if you've got a thin pencil to mark it, just double check that it's settled there first before you depress it down, and that gets it into the center of the, on these, it's a 2.5mm hole. Okay folks, as ever, thanks very much for your support. Let me know, give me a little bit of feedback what you think about this. I'm really delighted and really excited to be launching a new product at the, you know, in essence near the start of 2024. Let's see how things go. This is the Mark 1, as I've got ideas for future ones as well. So as ever, take care and look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.